Feminist biblical interpretation is about honoring all subjects, interrogating power relations, and reconstituting community. Thinking of feminist biblical interpreters as curators, as also showcasing what is the different approaches also to feminist interpretation in the biblical text. They are critics, sort of very much also interrogating some of the ways in which especially women, but also other vulnerable entities are portrayed in the biblical text. And then also they are really dealing in terms of complexity, seeing the ambiguity and tensions also in biblical interpretation, that is something to be highlighted. Trying to give voice to those unseen, unheard characters, both in the biblical text, but also in the world, paying attention to my own context in South Africa. The second theme is sort of facing gender-based violence. So many of the stories in biblical texts have to do with gender-based violence. How important it is to, again, interrogate the power relations and identify the problem associated to structural violence in terms of feminists or in gender-based violence. Amidst this situations of subjugation and oppression, one nevertheless sees that women still have agency, so that resistance is a third theme that's very important. A fourth theme that I highlight is also the importance of thinking of complexity in terms of identity. I use the example of the warrior and then also the woman in labor, and how some of those are blurred in terms of gender identity, but then also in terms of God, who's also portrayed in terms of women in labor and a warrior sort of combined in Isaiah, Deutero Isaiah. And what is also unique about these scholars is that they pay attention to issues that's very important in our country, in the South African context, but also Africa as a whole. So thinking about also how the biblical texts also sound in a context of poverty, HIV/AIDS, gender-based violence, that all biblical interpretation is really contextual. And again, everyone is doing exegesis to some extent. Everyone comes with a framework, comes with a perspective from where they've been, what they've seen, what they've studied, and how they bring that to the text.